Yes.
Can you hear me well?
Yes, I can hear you perfectly. Okay, thank you for your patience. Anyone who might be watching us live right now on Facebook or maybe later in the replay of this wonderful weekly conversations about outrageous love. And if you're new here, just to give you a heads up, what we're doing here every week, I have the opportunity and the blessing to have a conversation with Claire Molinard, and the other week with Chahat Corten. And Claire and Chahat together are the creatrix and founders of a yearly real life festival, Outrageous Love Festival, this year in Belgium. And this is about outrageous love and about the path to become an outrageous lover. And we thought it would be really great to have weekly conversations here to talk about what it means to be an outrageous lover, how to become that. And today I'm having a conversation with Claire Molinard. So thank you, Claire, for making the time to be with us again this week and share your wisdom with us.
Thank you, Krista, for creating this. I'm excited and always delight to speak to you.
Yes, as we were speaking before this live stream, and as I was feeling into it this week, and I want to share that intention also here, is that that I realized that it's not just having a conversation about the knowledge, but it's actually we're weaving this space together of connection and opening our hearts, and I could really feel that's how beautiful it is to get to know you and to get to have your life as kind of an example for people, how you can become that outrageous lover. And before I dive into my first question to you, I also want to say how honored I am to, that actually touches my heart. That's why I wanted to say it here live and not before, I guess. But you know, Marc mentioned in one of our meetings how you and Chahat and some of the other people are like the elders of our community, and that's why I feel so honored to receive your wisdom. You've been walking this path for so much longer than I am, and then probably a lot of people listening. So I'm just grateful that I get to drink from your wisdom.
Well, thank you, Krista. Thank you so much. That touches me. And well,
yes,
I'm touched, and thank you for the honor.
And for those of you who don't know Claire yet, as you can see, she is radiant with outrageous love. And maybe we can just start with that. If you can share a little bit about your journey, how you got on this path of becoming an outrageous lover, or however you want to call it. How did you find this radiance and this love and this joy in your life?
It's a long story. We're supposed to be 10 minutes, so that's a big challenge. But well, let's say that I fell into it. It sicked me, and I sicked it. I knew from a very young age that there was something more, and I felt different. And so from pain and suffering and feeling different and longing for something I didn't have, I finally fell into love. I'd say, you know, not to go, I think if, you know, to tell you my story would take much longer. So I can only speak by saying that it was I searched for love, and I longed for it even before I knew it was outrageous love. And one day I felt it. I actually experienced it, and I realized that love is not is what lives at the core of all things, and it's what drives reality. It was actually a realization. I felt it, I touched it, and from that time it became even more real, you know, because all of a sudden I had had an experience of it. And so from that moment when I was graced, because it was a moment of grace, it's always a moment of grace when we experience love, and we all had experiences of love and in our own ways. There's as many experiences of outrageous love as there are outrageous lovers. So I'm sure I would love to hear
Mm.
yours, Stan. I'm sure you would, you know, you would be as inspiring. So yeah, winded response maybe, but let's start it, get it
Yes.
from and does that give you a little bit of an answer?
Yes, because what I mean, of course, we don't dive into the full story now, but what I hear in your sharing is the both of those elements that we are going to speak about today is outrageous pain and outrageous love. And we will speak a lot more about outrageous love and this actually process of awakening. And I would love to hear more of that moment of grace. But today our topic is actually outrageous pain and how to be with outrageous pain personally, as well as the outrageous pain that is now so clearly happening in the world. I was thinking about when I was studying religion science, we got a list of reasons why people convert to religion or go on a spiritual journey, you could also say. And the number one reason on that list was depression, but I think could also be translated as pain. And that's what I'm also hearing in your sharing. And I would love to hear more about, maybe you can have an example of the deepest outrageous pain that you felt and how that has kind of pushed you to go on that journey to seek love, as you say it.
Yeah. Um, so the pain I was referring to was really the existential, you know, the childhood pain of loneliness. I felt very lonely and different when I was a child. So that was like the pain I was referring to was really that longing, and that longing to connect, that longing to be one with. So it was a longing for God. It was really a longing for God, as you know, as much as I can describe it. Um, so that is an outrageous pain, and of course then pain brought me on it. Pain was a very big element of wanting to grow and wanting to heal that pain and to go through my own pain. And so how does outrageous pain, so your question is, how do you address the outrageous pain, your own outrageous pain, or the outrageous pain of the world as an outrageous lover, right?
Yes, that's right.
So as an outrageous, when it's, I think my path and every outrageous lover's path is to address the pain by embracing it. And 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 I had to learn to walk through my pain, to walk through my, you know, Mark calls it the void, the emptiness, and the pain. And the emptiness has many faces. I had my own personal, there was a big part of my adult life when I had a lot of personal pain with my husband in my marriage. And um, that pain taught me a lot, because by going through that pain and working my own wounds and and walking through it, um, I learned to love myself more and to accept myself and to see my brokenness and of course I'm still doing that, to be clear. But there was a big period of my life where the pain was so big that I would either I had to break through it and walk through it in order to come out, you know, with more openness and with life, I would say, because the cane would have killed me otherwise. And so or it would have numbed me. I would have numbed me. So in order to walk, so what I'm trying to say is that when when I walking through the pain with outrageous love allowed me to be alive and to continue to be, vibrant and awake and to live through it. Does that make sense?
Yes, yes, totally. As you're speaking, I'm seeing this courageous like warrior with a little lights walking through the dark forest to get out on the other side. But I'm thinking a lot of people are probably also experience a lot of outrageous pain and suffering, and they don't have that connection to the light or to the outrageous love or to this feeling that there is another side to it. Do you always have this when you're connecting to the outrageous pain? Is that the way to be with it? And what if you're absolutely totally lost in the void, or you feel totally despaired with
Well, that's a great question, because no, I did. Yeah, so I always had it, and I didn't always had it. I lost it many times, and I sometimes lose it still now. But my commitment is really what I think graced me with the blessing of outrageous love. Is my commitment to I call her, I call the goddess she, outrageous love. I give her, I personify as a she, but of course she is more than, she's the goddess, God, source, known by many names. So any name you can put there for that force, for that life force, for that love force. And so I've always found it deeper so far. And I don't know, but I've had moments of darkness and where I couldn't see the light, of course. Of
yes.
course. Yeah. So, but and the faith, so there are in those moments of despair, there is always some faith. There is always a light. It's just deeper. So the commitment to going deeper, the commitment to trust that wherever I fall into her arms. That is, a both and. It's not like it's always a certainty, but even in the uncertainty, there is another level of certainty that I feel called to find.
Yes, yes. I love that sentence. I want to emphasize it. Wherever I fall into her arms, and to learn how to trust that, even if you can't see the light, you can't feel the light, or God, or love.
Yeah. So to trust that its insides are lined with love, as Marc often says, this line in the Song of Solomon, that the inside of reality is made of love, that she is the energy, the field that holds us all. And so that in the midst of whether it's my pain, our pain, the world's pain, the crisis we're in, to trust that there is goodness, there is truth, there is beauty underneath the outrageous pain of the world, and that the only answer, again, to cite our beloved Marc, the only answer to outrageous pain is outrageous love, and our role is to find it deeper, to trust that we'll find it, I'll find it, and we'll find it as a species, to not go with the dystopian stories of, that we can go to so easily these days. Yeah. But that it's, it's there. We can do this. We are made of it. Love is our DNA.
Yeah. And it almost sounds, I can imagine when I go back myself, like 10 years, when I was totally depressed and shut down and contracted, when I would hear you speak, I would be like, yeah, right. That's just wishful thinking, or, but yes, that it's actually true. And I'm wondering because of the time to close this conversation, for someone, I'm actually thinking of someone who texted me this week who was in deep despair. And who doesn't even know about divine or outrageous love or however you want to call it, to a person like that, what would you say to them? Or is there a practice like a prayer or something that they can do to open up their heart to this love?
Yeah. Well, when you say that, I go right straight away. I told you just before the call that I live with my daughters are here these days. And so when you said that, they just came to me, one particularly. Yeah, right.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
So my first thought to answer you was just love them up. Just love them up. You don't have to persuade anyone. Just give them love. And not just, new agey, I send you love and, woo-woo thing. No, just love them. And do your best to meet them where they are and give them that love that they don't believe in, by being the goddess that wherever they fall into your arms. Because, as a mother, I often think I'm the closest, I try to be, the mother for my daughters. I try. That's my role, to give that, to channel that for them. But I know that the mother is doing that for them more than I am. So when I fail, I remember that I don't have to get it totally right, because they are being loved by she. And so I try to remember, to just, without, having, when people are not there, there's no way you're going to get them there. But if you love them up and try to be that for them, as you can, maybe that creates a little shift. I don't know. But I wouldn't try to persuade anyone.
No. Yeah. I love that. That's something that I, as a person surrounding them, could do. But also for the person, him or herself listening, who is in that space, who maybe thinks, yeah, right, but also thinks, but how? So is there something that the person that is suffering can
do? Yeah. So if they're open to it, because of course,
if they're open to it, so someone listening now is open to it.
Most people that are in contraction, sometimes it can't, it's hard to be open when you're close. So if they're open to it, they can think of a person that they love. And sometimes it's not a person, it's a dog or a cat or another pet or a plant. I don't know, something that can bring love that brings love and softness into their heart. Yes. So that can be the medium to open a little bit and to soften the space here, and they can feel that for that person and just try and amplify it. So let's do it together, maybe. So
yes.
Can you think of someone that you easily, it's easy to love that person or that pet, or just bring someone. You don't need to tell me who it is, but just connect with that and tell me when you have him or her or it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So just feel into your love for that person and feel how it feels in your heart, and just let that flow. And imagine they're in front of you and you're just flowing, sending love to them. And let me know when you feel that it's flowing and that it's becoming bigger and it's increasing, and you feel that your chest is softening a little bit.
Yes.
Yeah. Now take your hand and put it here and give that feeling to yourself just now, just like that. And maybe you felt, for a little while that you could get it, you could receive it, just a little bit. And that would be a nice little place to start, just to soften and bring it back to yourself. And just, you could imagine that there's your little child inside, that you give it to your little child, whatever, however other work that you do with that. But that would be a nice, soft and cute way sweet way to start.
Yes, totally sweet. Yeah, I can feel the sweetness.
And you just, when there is pain, there is contraction. And the first thing we need, what does the mother do to her child? She softens, so that's what you want to be able to bring home. And I would start there. And of course, there's so much more.
Yes. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful way to be with outrageous pain, to soften and
Mm.
be the mother to ourselves. Yeah.
Yeah. And there's so much more. I don't know if you want to go into it. We can go into it another time. It depends on how long you want this to be. But next time we can talk about, how we deal with the outrageous pain of the world, which is a
Yes.
whole different, you know,
Yes.
dimension. And there's a lot that I want to say that I would have to share about that. But we can take that for the next.
Yeah, I think it would be good for the next time. And I think this is a very sweet and gentle first step, tender first step into being willing to access outrageous pain in ourselves. And then, yeah, next time I'm having a conversation with Chahat Corten about the
Yeah.
same topic. And then we can deepen into
Wonderful. I'm
outrageous
so
pain.
excited, and I want to say how grateful I am that we're having this little talks every week now with Shahat and me, and we're deepening this whole field to give a sense of what we are about, and in at the festival, but also in our whole world that we are sharing. And I'm so glad that you're in it with us, Krista. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. This was delicious. Thank you. So this was our conversation, and we will be back next week. We will be here every Tuesday at 7 p.m. Next week, I will have a conversation with Chahat Corten about outrageous love and how to be with outrageous pain. So thank you for watching. And if you have any questions or comments, please leave them on Facebook, and I will find you there.
Thank you, Krista.